Well, hello guys, I'm Kai with The Path of Life, and I have a video for you guys today comparing a couple of things. So when I first started my YouTube channel, I was just getting back into videography and filming and stuff like that. And the way that I got back into that is from the RC side. Drones were becoming a big thing, and I've always wondered what the world looks like from different perspectives, especially from above. So I got the DJI Phantom 3 Standard, and I used this drone to make my first few YouTube videos and just for a lot of fun stuff for myself. And I have loved this drone. It has really done a lot of good for me, and I've been able to capture some really neat things in a super cool way. I crashed this thing out at Dumont Dunes, got the entire thing filled with this super thin sand, had to blow everything out. Still to this day, sometimes you hear a little bit of grittiness and graininess going on in the motors and in the gimbal and stuff like that. There's still even sand just on these little buffers. So anyway, I really have enjoyed the Phantom 3 Standard. It has a lot of really cool features for a beginner drone pilot, and that made it pretty easy for me to learn. Also, the camera on it's pretty simple, but I was able to get some pretty good videos from it. So then I received the DJI Spark, and I've made a few videos on the DJI Spark since having it. Since I received the Spark, I have not flown the Phantom 3 Standard. So today I figured I would make a video comparing the two and what it's like going from the Phantom 3 Standard to the DJI Spark, and then kind of doing a little bit of compare and contrast. Things that I enjoy one over the other for, or vice versa. I feel like these two drones are good ones to compare as well because they're both pretty entry-level drones. They both record in 1080p as their maximum resolution, and they both have a pretty low price point. You can pick up the Phantom 3 Standard for about $350. You could pick up the DJI Spark for about $500. So I figured maybe there's some people out there in the YouTube world who are looking into getting into drones, maybe for the first time, and they're looking at these two drones wondering which type they should go for. Should you go with the larger, cheaper Phantom 3 Standard, or should you go with the smaller, more compact little DJI Spark? So in this video, I'm kind of just going to talk over some of the footage that I shot with both the DJI Spark and the DJI Phantom 3 Standard today. Just getting a couple of shots on both of these drones, and we can kind of compare the footage as we go. So with that, let's get right into this video. Alright, so let's start out with the Phantom 3 Standard. So the sale price right now looks like it's around $350, which is a pretty good price for this drone. Maximum resolution of 2.7K, has some intelligent flight modes that make learning and flying in cool cinematic ways pretty easy. But it only uses standard GPS. It has no obstacle avoidance sensors and does not utilize the GLONASS satellite system. So here you have the Phantom 3's camera. It cannot be removed or upgraded in any way. And it has the SD card slot located right on the top of the camera. So you press it, it ejects, you get your micro SD card, and you can insert it back in. Now the gimbal itself is pretty exposed aside from the landing gear, which has always made me nervous. It does have some shock absorption in it, which is nice, and it's 3-axis. Here you have the micro USB for updating the drone, and on the back you have the drone's battery. Now you have the charge indicator lights here indicating how much charge you have, and then you double press and hold to turn the drone on. The gimbal goes through its automatic configuration process, and now you can see how the gimbal works here as it stabilizes both the pitch and the roll axis, and then it buffers out the yaw axis. So it makes for really smooth panning motions as you move the drone. And then you can power it back down with a double press and hold again. Remove the battery by pinching the top and bottom of the battery and just pull straight out. The battery comes out. You can swap it out for a fresh one. You just press it until it clicks back into place. So there you go. That's the Phantom 3 Standard. So here's the remote control for the Phantom 3. So you have your charge indicator lights there, your power on off switch, and lets you know how much battery you have. So you have a function switch here, and this is your flight modes switch. You have your joysticks, which feel pretty good in the hand, and then you have your gimbal tilt knob here on the left index finger. You can see it's just a single antenna system. And then I have a tablet mount on here that expands out so that you can put your tablet on. Here is the USB charging port, and you can also use that to update the firmware of the remote control. Overall, it feels a little bit plasticky in the hands, a little toy-like. Now let's move on to the DJI Spark. So this little drone comes in about $500 for the drone or $700 for the Fly More package, including the remote control. Really, really small. Lightweight design, easy to take with you pretty much anywhere. Maximum resolution is only 1080p, but it records pretty well. Has a pretty small sensor size, so you need to take that into consideration as far as shooting longer distances. It makes it kind of difficult. The DJI Spark does use both GPS and GLONASS satellite systems for positioning and has obstacle avoidance and ground position sensors for flying indoors. This has the same battery indicator lights, and this one only has one light lit up, so the battery's getting pretty low. To remove the battery, there are levers on both sides. You have to pinch those and pull them back, and it removes that battery. Then you just slide the next one into place, and you're good to go. So we'll check the indicators on this, and it shows that we're full. Double press and hold to start it up, just like all the other DJI drones, and we'll go through its startup process. So you can see how the gimbal works here. It adjusts for the roll and for the pitch axis, but not for the yaw axis. This makes it so that you have to really pay attention to your panning motions. Back here we have a dust cover. You flip that up and you have your micro USB port and your micro SD card. So you can, through this micro USB port, you can charge, update firmware, and transfer data files off of the drone. Now this is the remote control. It's nice and compact when it's all folded up. You see here there are two antennas that just fold out, and then the cell phone holder on the bottom that flips out, and you just insert your cell phone into it like a vice grip or like clamps, and it just holds onto it so that you can control the drone while you are viewing it. You have the USB port here for charging and for updating the firmware on the controller. And you can see here the joysticks. It feels really good in the hand, this controller does. You have a record button and the gimbal tilt control. You have the picture button and a function button. And then on the front you have a pause record, sport mode switch, function 1 button, your control gimbals, return to home switch, and the power button. You can see that the battery indicators are the same on this remote as well. It does not have a screen like the DJI Mavic, but it has an indicator light that's flashing red right now. It would flash green when the remote was connected to the drone. You can just fold this up, and it folds up into a really nice little package. Alright, now let's look at some footage. So this is some footage from the Phantom 3 Standard. I want you to pay most attention to the saturation levels. Both of these are just straight out of the camera. So you can see that the greens are really bright and vibrant, but everything else is kind of flat a little bit. And then we go on to the DJI Spark, and everything's a little bit more saturated, and the green is not over vibrant. A lot more detail in the blue, and detail in those clouds and in the sky on the DJI Spark. Now doing the traditional droney with the Phantom 3 Standard. One thing that I will definitely say about the Phantom 3 Standard is with that extended gimbal system and the more powerful props and ability for stabilization, it definitely flies faster in normal applications, keeping your videos extremely steady. The DJI Spark is definitely better for a nice compact form factor though. So again, look at the saturation levels and the greens and how overblown some of the greens are in this Phantom 3 Standard shot as opposed to this next shot from the DJI Spark. You also have a little bit of a tighter lens with the Spark than you do with the Phantom 3 Standard. And so sometimes some people might think that that would be a benefit, I guess. Alright, so there you have it, the DJI Spark and the DJI Phantom 3 Standard. You know, it's really hard to define which one is a better drone overall. Sure, the Phantom 3 Standard has the ability to move faster with stabilized footage because the DJI Spark, although it can fly similar speeds, in sport mode it no longer adjusts for roll. You only get the gimbal feature for tilt with the DJI Spark. So that's something to consider. Your top speed with full roll and pitch is about 8 or 9 miles an hour with the DJI Spark, whereas with the Phantom 3 Standard you're looking at 28 miles an hour or something like that. So it's a pretty big difference. If you need to do faster flying or you're shooting faster subjects, the Phantom 3 Standard is definitely going to be a better option for you. So for me, in this comparison, I prefer the DJI Spark. As I said, since I received the Spark, I have not flown the Phantom 3 Standard up until today. Today was the first time flying the Phantom 3 Standard since I received the Spark. It's just a lot quieter, draws a lot less attention to yourself when you're flying it. I'm going to play a little clip for you guys. I was just having the drone hover straight out from the camera about 5 or 6 feet, and I did this with both the Spark and with the Phantom 3 Standard. And I just want you guys to listen to the difference between these drones. So you can hear that the Spark sounds like a bunch of bees or flies or whatever, but the Phantom 3 Standard sounds like a leaf blower. The thing is just extremely loud, draws a lot of attention to you. It's also really big and easy to see in the sky, and so you know, people are gonna see it, they're gonna follow it, and it just attracts more attention to yourself. So if that's something that you need to take into consideration, then that's a factor as well. For me, I like being able to take my drone everywhere with me. I like to do a lot of vlogging and a lot of filming of adventures that I go on, and a lot of that involves hiking and backpacking and going places where I can't take a large drone. And so the DJI Spark is definitely, for me, is the preferable path because of the type of shooting that I am into. I would love to hear your thoughts and opinions. Please leave me some comments down below. I love reading through those, and I try and respond to all of them. And also just let me know, which one would you prefer, or which one do you have, or which one do you want? Well, that's it for this video, guys. Don't forget to hit the subscribe button that's right up above me. Also, once you do that, then hit the little bell icon to be apprised when we come out with new videos. Also, you can check out some of our other videos linked up right over here. Till next time, take care of yourselves, everybody. Make it a great day. Peace out.